Okay, percents. This one's actually, I think it's a tough one. Because all these situations you're definitely not used to, right? When was the last time you bought something and had a discount? Had to calculate it, or you paid for lunch and you had to look at the check and you saw the tax and you saw the tip, so unfamiliar territory. I mean, you know about it, but you don't go through the process of paying for it. So it's a little tough sometimes. Nevertheless, let's see what we can do. One, Sam bought a sweater at a sale price of 25. The original cost is 40. Right, so what was the percent of decrease, right? So we have a decrease here. So new minus old, you can do new minus old over here, minus old. So new price is 25, the old price was 40, divided by 40, and we get 25 minus 40, and that's 25 minus 40. So we got negative 0.375, change that to percent, 37.5%. Right, so that is your answer. So now on the state test, you'll probably see, like, well, there you go. You see that. It doesn't have a negative sign. That's okay. 2, 20% of the amount before tax as a tip. How much? Okay, so there's 3 parts. So when there's tax and tip, you really have to do it separately. I mean, unless the question says otherwise. And there is another question here where they did a tip based on the price of the food with tax. So here's the service. So let's call it the service. The service, whatever she got, was $72.60. Then they added tax and they added tip. So let's figure out what the tax is. So on your calculator for the tax, you do 72.60 times 0.08, not times 1.08. Okay, I mean you could, but okay, but if you did that, let me do it. Let me do that. Let me do this one first. 72.60 times 0.08 equals $5.81 rounded. Now you go back for the tip, 72.6, right, times 0.20, which was a tip. Then you get $14.52 as a tip. Right, so you add that up. And you get $92.93 right there. Now, some of you might have done this. The service with tax. So the service with tax is 72.60. Let me write that. Service with tax, you could have done 72.60 times 1.08. And if you do that by 1.08, when you get the answer, this answer here, $78.41 is the price of the service with the tax. But to that you have to add the tip plus the tip. So just be careful that when you do the tip, you don't use this 78.41, but you do so 72.60 times 0.20. Right, and that would be your tip of $14.52. And you add those two. So it's up to you, as long as you can differentiate both. 3. The Lions won 16 games last year. The Lions game won. This year the Lions won 20 games. Oh, shoot. This is a percent of increase. Okay, so this year they won 20, so it's 20 new minus old divided by old. So 20 minus the old over the old. So what was the percent of increase? It looks like, I don't know how to use my calculator, 25%. You get 0.25 and change it to percent, multiply that by 100, and that's what you got. 650 bicycles were sold last year. This year they sold 572, so you can tell it's decrease. So again, new minus old over old. So we get 572 minus 650 over 650, enter 0.12, which becomes 12% negative. But the answer is just 12%. 5, interest rate, right? Simple interest rate. I equals PRT. So he puts $140 down at 0.03 interest rate times how much? At the end of 2 years. There you go. So 140 times 0.03 times 2, and we get $8.40. Right? Store purchase a DVD, so they go and buy a DVD, and then they sell it to the customer for 50% more. And then, so the DVD, well, right, so the DVD is at $12, and if you sell it for 50% more, it's 1.5, right? So 12 times 1.5, so the DVD now is $18, right? You bought it for this, you increase the price by 50%, so now the customer is paying $18, right? So you got to make some money. But the customer, has to pay tax. So he's going to pay tax of $18, right? So 18. What was the customer's total cost for DVD? Well, it's 18 times 1.07, right? 107%. Which includes the price of the item plus the tax. So in this case, it's 18 times 1.07. Find the price, 19.26. Now, if you are not comfortable doing this, you can just say, okay, here's the price for the customer. It's going to be, let's figure out what the tax is. So the tax would be 18 times 0.07. And the tax is $1.26. There you go. You can add and see. Notice that you get the same exact price. Okay. All right, so again, I think we saw when we did the percent unit questions like this. So there's a camera. It's on discount for 40%, which means, right, so the camera is, so the camera's $450, takes a dive, right, 40% discount, and then it goes up 40%. So what's the new price? Well, $450. If it takes a 40% discount, that means you have to pay for 60%. And then from that, once you multiply these two, you got to raise it by 40%, which is going to take you to 1.4. The final price of the camera, 1,450 times 0.6 times 1.4 is 378. Okay. Again, that's the most direct way. If you're not comfortable doing that, you have 450. You figure out what the discount is, and then subtract from 450. Right? And then you figure out what 40% is of the new price, and then you add it to the price, right? So it's the same thing, but a little bit longer. So some of you had questions on this. So you had two people. One person makes $150 per week plus 9.5% commission. The other one just makes $450 with no commission. So let's do the easy. Let's call this A and B. The B person, per year, he makes $450 times 52 weeks. He makes $23,400, right? The whole year. The other guy makes $115 per week, right? Guaranteed, times 52. That gives $5,980. That's what he makes. But he also gets commission. Commission on the amount of sales. So the commission here, it's percents times sales. The commission is 0.095, and the sales that he did was 125,000. So in commission, he's going to bring in 11,875. So his total is this number and this number combined. So plus 5980. So the second guy, or the guy in the top, A guy, A makes 17,855. Based on this average, what is the difference between the two salary options in the year? Well, The difference would be 23,400 minus 17,855. You guys can figure that out. Dealer paid 10,000 for a boat. He's going to raise the price by 30%. And the salesperson, this is a type of question that I'm not too fond of. Salesperson received a commission of 25% of the difference between the auction price and the dealership price. What was the salesperson's commission? Now, all right. So how do I explain this question? All right. So you bought the boat for 10,000. Your employee, right? You're the dealer. Your employee. So you bring the boat to the showroom, and your salesperson sells the boat for 30% more. So if you bought it for 10,000, right? And you're gonna increase the price because you gotta make money on it by 30%, right? So you can multiply 10,000 times 1.3. You get 13,000. So now your boat is being sold at $13,000. But you're not selling it, your salesperson. So the salesperson sells your boat for 13,000, right? So this guy sells the boat for you. Now, first of all, you're not making 13,000, right? You bought the boat for 10, you sold it for 13, so you made a profit of $3,000. But out of the $3,000, you gotta pay your salesperson. And for some reason, your contract says that you're gonna pay your salesperson 25%. 25% of 3,000. So 3,000 times 0.25. And that is, so your salesperson makes $750. Okay, so not that it's a hard question, but it's complicated to understand, right? I think. Simple interest. How much? Okay, again, two questions that deal with simple interest. So let's do Liana here and Marty over here. So Liana is, both start with 100. Liana is 0.025, and we're talking about 3 years, okay? So Liana makes $7.50. Marty, on the other hand, 100 times a rate of 0.02 times 3, he makes $6. So what's the difference between the two? Well, 7.5 minus 6, 1.5. Percent increase. Okay, last year, this year. Okay, so this year is the new one. So 1520 minus 950, which is the old, over 950. What was the percent of increase? 20, 950, sorry, 1520 minus 950 equals 0.6 or 60% increase. Okay. Every 5 years in March, the population of a certain town is recorded. In 1995, the town had 4,500 people. And then it increased by 15%, and then it decreased by 4%. What was the town's population? So if it increased by 15%, we're going to multiply that by 1.15, and then we know that, I'll do it in steps, by the way. We know the population is now 5,175. And then it decreased by 4%. So if you had 5,175 people and it decreases by 4%, what are you left with? Well, if it decreases by 4%, it means that I still have 0.96% of the population with me, right? I don't know, maybe the 4% went away. So 5,175 times 0.96 means that I have 4,968 still with me. There you go. again, another question that's, again, thank God it was 2017, but every now and then you get ridiculous. $500 to pay for television. He's going to payment plan that requires him to make a down payment of $125. So he doesn't have $500, but he puts down $125. Says, hey, I'm buying it, and then let me give you $125 first, and the rest I'll pay you in installments. So he's going to pay you $125, and then he's going to also pay 6 times $72.50. Right. So if he does that, let's see how much he ends up paying. Well, let's multiply those two first. 6 times $72.50. Enter. That's $435 plus $125. He ends up paying $560. Why? Because the TV, the store charge him interest, right? They're not gonna let you pay in monthly installments for no interest, right? So now, unless you came in and paid cash to say, hey, I have $500, here's, take your $500, and then I take the TV. But look at the difference, right? You're gonna pay a little bit more if you take that. And that's how they make money too. Right, so what's the percent of increase? Well, the new price is 560. The old price is 500 over 560. So you end up paying a certain percentage more, which is 0.12 or 12%. So you paid 12% more because you didn't have the cash right away. That goes for cars, for houses. All right. Student uses a solution that contains 16 grams of water. At the end of 1 hour, the amount of water in the solution decreased by 3.5%. At the end of 2 hours, the amount of water in the solution has decreased by another 4.25. Which calculation? Okay, so 16. 16. Not doing it. Right, so 16 times 0.035. 16 times, let me just do that. 16 times 0.035. That means that we lost this much solution. So from 16, we can do 0.56, and you're left with 15.44. So this is how much you have right now after the first one. Does anything look like that? Well, this one does, right? That's exactly what I did. This one does is exactly what I did. These two times, well, you multiply by 0.35, which is incorrect. So that's gone and that's gone. So C and D are gone. So once you do that, you're going to take 15.44 and multiply it by 0.0425. And you'll do, well, so far those two, this one and this one are correct. And if you multiply that, you get 0.6562. And then from this, right, you're going to subtract from 15.44, which that's what the water level is. So 15.44 minus 0.6562. And the one that looks like that is this one. This one here, what was a mistake? They subtracted from the original amount, 16, which is incorrect because it had decreased a little bit. Okay, again, another simple interest. IPRT, 70 times 0.045 times 3. And we get $9.45. Okay, so 16, she wants to save money. The regular price is $400, and Saturday store will have a discount by 30%. And then another 10%. How much will Leah pay without tax if she buys it at 9 a.m.? So, 400. There's a 30% discount. That means she has to pay for 70% of the computer. And then if she gets another 10% discount, that means she has to pay for 90% of the new price. So that's what you have to do. And you get 252. $17 Lunch is 13 without tax. Tip, sorry, the tip 17. This total cost of the lunch. So there's no, all right, no tax for whatever reason. So 13. You put a tax of 17%. It's going to be, we can just do this like that, right? Because we don't have to worry about tax. So 13 times 1.17, and our final price is 15.21. If you don't want to do that, you can say, hey, here's my food, which was $13. The tip is it's 17%, so you could have done 17% times 13, right? So what's 17% of 13, which is 221. You find the tip separately, and then come back here and add the food plus tip, and you notice that you get the same answer. Okay. Ratio of boys to girls after school is the same as the ratio of boys to girl in Mrs. Green's class. Okay. There are 4 boys and 12 girls, so 4 boys and 12 girls in Mrs. Johnson's class. Mrs. Girls. There are 6 boys and X girls. So let me do it again. 4 over 12 boys and girls. In the other class, we know that there's 6 boys, but we don't know how many girls. So there's your proportion. So you can cross multiply. I mean, there's so many ways you can do this, right? So let's cross multiply. 4 times x, 4x. 6 times 12 is, I don't know, 72. Divided by 4, divided by 4, x equals 18. So 19, furniture store has a sale of a sofa is 1/3. Okay, the original price is that. Customer can get an additional 5%. At checkout, there's 6.5 tax. What's the sold? Oh, wow. This is 2021. Okay, so the original price is 1,029. The first discount is 1/3 off. If it's 1/3 off, it means that you have 2/3 to pay for, right? So if you take 1/3, you still have to pay for 2/3. I'll do this in steps. 1,029 times 2/3. So after that, after the one, if they take 1/3 off, you're left with 686. Okay, and then I get another 5% discount. Well, 686. If I get a 5% discount, that means I'm left with 95% to pay for, right? So what's 95% of 686? That brings me to 651.7. Right? So now, discount 1, discount 2, I gotta pay taxes. So this is my price. I take it to the cash register. 6.5% tax. So if you want to find the price of the whole thing with the tax, we just add it to 100, and we get 106.5 or 1.065. And that's going to give you the price of the sofa, including the tax, which is 694. 694.06. You probably could have done this. I don't know how many of you could have done this. 2/3 times 0.95 times 1.065. You could have done all straight up. Times 0.95 times 1.065. Yep, and you get the same answer. Two stores. The original price 35. One has a discount of 20. The other one has a discount of 15. So this one, not too big of a deal. So 35 for store A. If you have a discount 20, you're paying for 80%. So 35 times 0.8, that gives us 28. Store B, 35 times 0.85, right? And that's going to give you 29 75. So what's the difference in price in both watches? Well, subtract and you get that. Another 2022 question. Okay, last year. Airplane ticket. The original price was $473. You have a coupon code for 20 and then the tax of 12. What was the total purchase price after the discount and after the tax? So this one is easy, right? $473. If you have a 20% discount, it means you have to pay for 80%. Right? So you're gonna get, if you multiply those two, you get the discounted price, and then you have to add the tax. Right? You want to find the price of the airplane ticket plus the tax. You do that. 473 times 0.8 times 1.112 gives you 423.81 rounded. Okay, cameras. She bought cameras for 65, included 60% markup to get the selling price. To near sells, what was the selling price? Okay. All right, so she bought it for 65. She's gonna mark it up by 60%. Times 1.60, and if you do that, you get the sale price, which is $104. If you don't want to do it that way, you can do it the other way. Here's $65, which is the price of camera. Now, times, figure out what 60% is, so multiply that by 60%. So 65 times 60% is $39. So this is the markup. So here's your camera. She's going to increase it by $39. And if you add those two, you get the same way. So either you do it this way or the more direct way. It's up to you. Home improvement, Chimes, $30. This customer signed up for a free membership and received 5% discount. Sales tax of $5. All right, so again, $30. If you have a 5% discount, that means you're left with 95% to pay for, and then you have to pay for taxes. And that should have been what you put in. 30 times 0.95 times, times 1.05, and then we get $29.93. Please, especially, I'll talk to you about this next, about showing your work in the state test and how important that is. 24. Lunch. Now the group tip. So here, I understand why they do it. The group tip 18% of the amount after the sales tax. Okay, so what was the amount in dollars of the sales tax? So we have the food. So let's, what is it? Food. 37.5. Sales tax. Now, sales tax, and again, 37.5 times 0.08. So the tax itself is $3. Now, in this case, I'm adding these two together right away. So this is food with tax, because their group is tipping 18% on this amount. I know I've told you that, hey, when you tip, you put it on here, but for some reason, this question, they're tipping the waiter on $40.50, which includes the food and the tax. I mean, you could do that. I mean, it's not much of a difference, but I don't think that's the right thing to do. So now they're putting 18%, so let's do tip. So it's 40.50 times 0.18. So the tip is going to be $7.29. Add everything up, the total becomes, 48 and becomes 47.79. Okay, this one again, I didn't like it. I have a house. The house is $175,000. I hire your company to sell the house. Not company, the company you work for. So broker company. And they're charging me 4%. They send you to sell the house for me. Okay, you, the employee, right, sells the house, right, and you made $4,725. Okay, that's what this says. And you make $4,725. So, what percent of the agency fee did Mrs. Hamilton receive? So, let's work on this. So the commission, 175 percent, 4%, which is 0. So let's say how much I paid in commission. 4% times 175,000. So it's 0.04 times 175, 1, 2, 3. So I end up paying the company that you work for $7,000 in commission. All right. Now, you, out of the $7,000, you took $4,725. So obviously, right, the company takes a little bit and you take a little bit. So what percent of the $7,000 did you take? That's what the question is asking. So 4,725 divided by 7,000 is 67.5%. You took 67.5%, and the rest was the company took. Coach of basketball team, buying shoes. Super Sports offering a 20% discount. Prices are $72.50. $72.50 per shoe, right? Times 12. It's going to be $870 because you're buying 27. Now you're going to get a 20% discount then, so that means we have 80% left over, and then 6.5% in taxes, so 1.065. So the total price for you at Superstores would be $870 times 0.8 times 1.065, which is going to give us $741.24. A double dribble shoes is $54.75. So multiply that by 12 first. So the total is going to be $657. There's a 9% processing fee on the total, and $5.99 for each pair. So 9%. So times 9%, or times 1.09, right? Like the process. Think of it as a tax. So 657 times 1.09. It's going to take us to $716.13. And then there is a shipping cost of $5.99. So the shoes itself here, okay, plus the processing fee. Right, so the only thing is the processing fee for each shoe or just for the cost of shoes? Okay, so for the cost of shoes, there's a processing fee of 9%. So that's it. And then now there's a $5.99 shipping fee. So $5.99 shipping fee times 12 because there's 12 shoes. That's crazy. $71.88 in shipping fees. If you add those two up, you get 788.01. What's the difference? Well, subtract this and this, and you get the difference. I don't like that question. Mick paid $294 in sales tax on an item that costs $42 before tax. At that rate, how much would he pay in sales tax for an item that costs $58 before tax? All right, so we gotta find out what the tax rate is. Well, you can do new minus old here. or you can do 290. You can do a percent proportion. It's really up to you. I'm just trying to figure out which one would be easier. All right, so let's do percent proportion. So if you do a percent proportion, the total, so you pay, so total was 42, and what's 294, right? What percentage of 42 is 294? Well, cross multiply 42x equals 294, divide both sides by 42, x equals 294 divided by 42, which is 7%. So 7%. Now you know what the percent in tax is, 58, and this one you don't want the total price. You just want to know what the sales tax is. So $58 times the tax, which is 7. So if you bought something for $58, how much would you pay in tax? You would pay $4.06. A lot of work in this problem. All right, so a lot of work in this problem. This question. I remember this question. Determine the item with the greatest percent increase from the price from last year to this year. Be sure. Okay, last year the property manager bought 5 shovels and 6 bags of salt. The snow shovels were a total of $172.50, and each bag of salt was $6.20. So per bag. All right, so the shovels, 172.5 divided by 5 is 34. So I'm going to write it 34.5 per shovel. Good. I have the unit rate for both. This is last year. This year, two shovels, so he bought 2 shovels, and he bought the shovels for $70.38, which means, and I'm going to divide 70.38 divided by 2, it's $35.19 per shovel this year. As far as the sand, he bought 4 bags of sand, 4 bags, salt, sorry. And in this case, it says that the total cost of bags of salt was $26.04. So we have to divide 26.04 divided by 4. Each bag was $6.51 per bag. So they want the percent of increase. Determine the item was the greatest percent of increase from last year to this year. So you got to do new minus old. So let's do it for the shovels. For the shovel, the new price is $35.19. The old price was $34.5 over $34.5. Right, so this is the new, by the way, and this is the old. So 35.19 minus 34.5 divided by 34.5, and that equals to 2% increase. Right? You get 0.02, change it to percent, multiply by 100. As far as the bag of sands, it's 651 minus 620 over 620. So 6.51 minus 620 divided by 620 equals, am I doing this right? Minus the old price, 6.2, and I get 5%. 0.05, make sure you change it to percent, you got 5%. So, determine the item was the greatest percent of increase. The greatest percent of increase was the bag of salt, and then this and this were the increases. That one, complicated because one on the top here, they give you the price, the total price for 5 shovels. So you have to divide 172 by 5. At the bottom here, and then 620 here, you buy 6 bags of salt, and they give you the price per bag of salt. So, I mean, why not keep it consistent and give me the total price for 6 bags of salt? But no, they decided to, hey, give you the unit price, right? But then the following year, you buy 4 bags of salt, and then this number here is not the price per bag of salt, but is the price for 4 bags of salt. So you have to divide 2604 divided by 4. So sometimes you have to find the unit rate, and some of the other you don't. I mean, and then on top of it, you have to find the percent of increase. Yeah, this one had a lot. 29. Okay. In year 4, the store sold 112% of the total number of scooters sold during the previous 3 years. Okay, so previous 3 years we had 725 plus 579 plus 696, so there was a total 2,000 scooters. Year 4, the store sold 112%, or 1.12 of the total number of scooters sold during the previous 3 years. So, okay, so 2,000 times 2,000 times 1.12. That's 2,240 scooters. That was easy. 30. Ooh, 2 more questions. Yay. Company starts to track phone calls. First month, they got this many calls. First month. Second month, the company received 25% more calls. 25% more would be 4,264 times this, and that gives you the total. 4,264 times 1.25. They got 5,330 calls here. And then the third month, they got 6,396. What was the percent increase from the second to the third month? Well, this and this. New minus old. Minus the old. Divided by the old. 6,396 minus 5,330. It says 0.2, or change it to a percent, 20% increase. Okay. Now be really careful here that if you did end up, if you multiply 4,264 times 25% only, right? 4,264 times 0.25. You're going to get the number 1,066. I hope that you realize that this is not the final answer. You would have had to do 4,264 plus 1,066, right? Because there was an increase, right? The company received 25% more, so if you left it at 1,066, it would make no sense, right? Because you went from 4,264 to 1,066. That's not the right answer, right? So if you did this in part, right, you found the percent, 25%, and then you add it to the total, right? Whatever the number is, 330 there. That's the actual answer for the second one. Or you did what we originally did, which is multiply that times 1.25, which gives you the total number of phone calls, including the 25% increase. And this one, another percent question, percent of increase. February, 4,100 bottles. March, 7% more. So just like the previous problem. So 7% more would be 4,100 times 1.07. Which you get 4,380. 87. It has to be more. This value has to be more. And then in April, that's 500 more bottles. Well, 4,387 plus the 500 extra gives you 4,887 bottles. What was the percent of increase from February to April? Well, this to this number over here, and this number here. New minus old, right? And we should get our answer, 4,887 minus 4,100. Oh my god. 4,887 minus 4,100. Enter. Divided by 4,100. And we get, so your calculator, and unless I did something wrong, this is what I see. Rounded to nearest hundred, be 19.20, right? Because if you multiply that, it becomes 19, and that 5 makes that 19 goes up to 20. That's what I would have left with my final answer. Okay, that was a long one, but a lot of calculations. It's only because, every single question was in the percent category.